I always like to kind of learn a bit more about you. So what I was thinking today is, I when I was 20 odd, I got an operation on my back, and I had a scare, and people used to always say, "What's that? What's that? What's that?" And it was just like kind of a trigger of reminding me of my back operation and the pain. I had a sciatica thing, and which was all fraud. Again, we can go into that later. But I ended up when I was 30 getting a tattoo, and I done a yin yang and then a whole spread on the bottom of my back, which covered it up. But of course, my friend said then later, "Oh, you've got a tramp stamp." So I was like, exactly, you know, I was kind of like, so then I decided, okay, I better get another tattoo. So I ended up getting the Jack Daniels tattoo on my arm. And I mean, that was like over 20 years ago. So I was looking at maybe try to get rid of them, and I couldn't see anything that really does it because, like, they can fade it, but it looks like a scar. And I'm just curious. One, you've got a lot of tattoos. You might tell us the story about them. And did you ever think about getting rid of them?
Well, I've never ever thought about getting rid of them, but if you look, see, so I joined the Royal Navy at like 16. So my view of joining the Royal Navy, I could see myself as a pirate. You know, I'm going off to the high seas. I'm going to have adventures, and that was what I see. And then when you joined it, it was like, holy shit, this is terrible. You know, it's like I did not fit in whatsoever. You know, it's a military regime. It's that, and you're on a ship. You can't exactly run away from anyone. Do you know what I mean? Kind of, it's like we're looking at our living room now when we're sitting in the living room, and sometimes I look at the size of it and I think I was in a room with 30 men sleeping, up, all up the walls, and it was horrendous. So I used to do like a lot of self hypnosis, if you want to call it that, and now I would look at it as meditation to remove me from that situation because I was not very good at it. And I was going through a very rough mental period myself as well. So I could be extremely, actually they actually said I was highly volatile. That's what they called me. I was like, I had to go look that word up. I was only like 16, 17. What does that mean? And I go look at it. It was like, the description was like, unstable and can evaporate in warm weather. I was like, what? But obviously they were talking about chemicals or anything. But yeah, so like, I mean, my first sort of like adventure into that, if you want, was about like, I think 13-year-old, something like that, where, you used to be able to get like the Indian ink
I remember that. You get the pin and
you get the pin, you know what I mean? Which is horrendous, and you can still see a couple of little, like marks on places, and I did different types of things. It's just madness. But then when like 16, I was just about to leave, like, to go and join the Navy, and I was like, all my friends were like, kind of more stable than I was. And anyway, there's like, I got this tattoo and it was on this arm, right, of a ship, right, with the sails and everything like that, and Royal Navy written underneath, on like the flowing sort of like banners, in my mate's bedroom. Right. So, he had all the machines and everything, had all the inks. I mean, he still does it now. He's been running a tattoo shop for ever since then, since I was like in the 70s. But back then he was literally, he wasn't much older than me. He was doing it like in his bedroom. He's probably better at it now than what he was then. But and I had that for a long, long time. And then, just obviously you're at sea, you're going into harbors, going around the world, and you go to different tattoo shops that you're always drunk, right? So you go, I'll have that one. And then I've got like, and it's obviously I'm pretty well covered now. But as I got older, it wasn't to me, I wasn't like, oh, I'm ashamed of them, I'm embarrassed of them, I don't like them. But I was looking at them and saying, well, they're getting old. And they do like fade themselves anyway because of the sun. Yeah, and so you're out in the sun and things like that. So so I decided to get the whole thing covered up. Right. So in what this is now, so I've been running a martial arts gym for over 30 years, fighting professionally, like, 'really, into the whole scene. Now, what it is like, if you look at the background where we came from, I was into kung fu to start with, Chinese martial arts. Then we moved more into kickboxing, so it's kind of westernized. I was boxing, obviously, from very early age in the 60s, 70s. But the whole thing on Kempo karate is that it's an eagle. Sorry, it's like a tiger coming in with the dragon, the green dragon and the white tiger. And that's what they fight, and they wrap around like yours, the yin yang. They wrap around the yin yang. So that's what we had. All of our logos were like that. So what I've done is I got on this arm. All right, you can maybe just see it. This is like a dragon. The whole thing is a dragon, all the way up, right, all there, going in. And then when you put the arms together on this side, you can't really see it. It's like upside.
Yeah, but they're good quality ones. They're mine,
like,
yeah.
you can see the face of the tiger, and that's what it is, and they're facing each other. That's why that one, it goes all the way up. And then on here we have the Japanese demon going in to fight the samurai warrior, which is the same as on the picture at the back. All right, different image, but that's the idea, That itself, just because that covered up lots of smaller, Royal Navy tattoos, shall we call them, But that took, just to do this, to get it covered up, took nearly 2 years of 3 weeks off and then a week getting it done, because you can't keep doing it, because you have to continue the picture. You can't do a bit here and a bit there. It's got to be the picture. So you can't do it next to where it's healing, and because it's scabby, and you got to make sure it's all smooth, ready to go on the next one. So, and
just
anyone else says,
when I got my first one, the person I was with got a dolphin, and they picked it, and you can't pick it. You just try the tattoo, but you have a bit of a tattoo. So the thing is, usually you get a gel to put over it and maybe a bit of cling film and stuff like that. But some people, they just pick a spot, or they pick a mosquito bite or something like that. So it's like, you have to be careful
oh, most definitely. And obviously, it's a wound, so you got to keep it clean and hygienic, and get creams on it that's like, to help it heal, But yeah, if anyone tells you that, oh yeah, I've got loads of tattoos, nothing hurts, or like that, lying, right? You just got to imagine you've got, depending on what it is, you've got between 1 or 4 or 5 needles at the same time that are literally stabbing all of your skin, and the blood's pouring off you. So, I mean, how that could not be painful is just crazy.
I nearly fainted with my one, and the guy then got me a Twix, because it was over 2 hours to do the one on my back. And I remember I got very weak, and they stopped, and they gave me a Twix. That's all I remember. Then they just continued again.
Well, I was thinking either give you sugar energy or just take your mind off it, one of the two.
Exactly.
But yeah, I mean, but and it is what it is, and everybody's different. I don't care if people like it or don't like it or whatever it is. I've chosen to the way I see it is like Oriental art, and that's what I've always been into. It's what we've been living basically my entire adult life as. So, and I wouldn't ask anyone else to go and get one. You do what you want, and live and let live, and enjoy what you enjoy.
The thing that was kind of, because it got very popular then, kind of over the last 10 years or whatever. And my fear was, I saw that there's all different types of ink. And if you've got not a healthy ink, because obviously, I mean, I would have been in your area, you put the 4 dots in your knuckles and things like that, and all with the Indian ink and everything. Never saw anything with it. But I've heard that there can be some, dodgy ink out there. So that was my kind of, that's a fear as well for people. They should investigate what's actually getting injected into them.
Oh, for sure. I mean, when I got this major work done, I mean, this guy, I've known him for a long time. He's an actual martial artist himself. He supplies others with ink. He's got a lot of credentials, and world championship for his actual artwork on various different types of skin. So I do believe that if you want to do anything like that, make sure obviously it's going to be healthy, and you're not going to get anything mixed in with anybody else's needles or anything like that. and you know that it's going to be good quality. I've seen some horrendous quality that's supposedly been done by a professional artist. So I would do a lot of research before you end up doing something on yourself, because it doesn't come off.